Tom Aspinall gave a pretty pathetic update on the Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall fight.
What is holding it up right now is his side.
After Jon Jones beat Stipe, the initial hope was maybe we could get this international fight week. Maybe we would hear about this by early 2025, but we have heard radio silence, and it's been concerning. We've talked about it in past videos. For instance, there was that incident that happened last week where Jon Jones was clearly drunk on Instagram Live.
Another dad, you just want to kill him.
So yeah, this just made me feel like the fight was definitely not happening. And let's be honest right now, the UFC is probably panicking right now, trying to get a negotiation down with Jon Jones, trying to get this fight done. Because as many people know, this is one of the biggest fights the UFC could put on, but Tom Aspinall went on his YouTube channel and finally gave his side, which is about time. Tom Aspinall needs to be speaking up because otherwise the fight's not going to happen. The pressure needs to be on Jon Jones. But let's hear what Tom Aspinall has to say because he kind of reveals Jon Jones is missing, and I'm not surprised. He's been ducking Tom Aspinall for a while.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time. We're just going to talk a little bit about my current situation, fighting situation. I'm getting the questions asked a lot, what's going on with my next fight. Everywhere I go, we're talking in the comments, online, in the street, on YouTube. Everywhere I go, people are asking me about this goddamn Jon Jones fight. I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick of repeating myself. So this video is going to be to clear up a few things from me, because I see a lot of articles out there. Different people are saying different things. There's all kinds of rumors flying around.
Look, I love Tom Aspinall more than the next guy, right? I mean, I have been saying since Tom Aspinall beat Sergey Pavlovich that, yeah, I think he's going to beat Jon Jones, right? And I truly do still think that. But Tom's also being a little too nice here, guys. I mean, bro, like, come on. You know, I don't know, man. You can't just sit silent and let this fight die out. I genuinely think that Jon Jones doesn't want to take this fight. I think he thinks it is just too risky, and why would he, you know, risk his O? I think that's more important to him than any amount of money. So I think the only way you're going to get at Jon Jones is his ego. I think if you go attack him, go talk trash about him, let him know, like, hey, that you know that he's trying to duck you, then maybe the ego of Jon Jones gets to him, and Jon Jones, you know, he does have an ego. I mean, let's be honest. So I think that would probably be the best way for Tom Aspinall, but being silent, I just think it's going to make the fight die. So we should really thank those people that are writing the articles.
This is one of the biggest fights that can be made in MMA right now.
At the moment, we're now in March when people watch this video. We've stayed quiet in obviously January, February. We pushed the Jones fight a lot last year, but we sort of said, right, crack on with training. Where do things stand?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who know me mainly for talking about Jon Jones, which is a shame because there's a lot of stuff that I've done in the UFC and I'm completely aware of that. Don't want to talk about, like, I've been staying away from the media and talking about Jon Jones a lot because in all honesty, I'm sick of talking about it myself. There needs to be updates.
Oh yeah, this is perfect. We got to see what this update is.
Articles out there online saying a load of different things that's just not true. Do you know what I mean? It's just not true. Where we're at right now is I have spoke to the UFC on multiple occasions about this fight. I'm chasing it up. I want the fight. I've been on record and said that I want the fight. I've been on the phone with the UFC saying that I want the fight. When's it happening? I want the fight more than anyone. What is holding it up right now is his side. That's the truth of it.
Oh my God, this is so shocking. And it all makes sense why. Tom Aspinall has all to gain while Jon Jones really doesn't have that much to gain, at least definitely nowhere near as much as Tom Aspinall. And we are now hearing it from Tom Aspinall, right? This guy has been calling the UFC repeatedly, trying to get this fight, trying in all of his powers. So obviously, if the fight was going to happen, like if Jon Jones wanted this fight to happen, it probably would have already happened or would have at least been announced. And let's be honest, I'm sure that the UFC probably would have wanted this for International Fight Week. That's what it seemed like the talking was. So the fact that we're hearing it probably is not going to be International Fight Week is worrying. Although my prediction was always if the fight was going to happen, it's going to happen at that Madison Square Garden card in New York City, or maybe at the end of the year in Las Vegas or something like that. But my point is, I highly doubt this fight is going to take place anytime soon, if the fight even takes place at all, because obviously Tom Aspinall is showing here that Jon Jones seemingly might have no interest in this fight after all.
The UFC really want the fight to happen. They've told me that. This is, as I said, this is one of the biggest fights that can be made in MMA right now.
I mean, Tom is 1,000% right here. Like, this is the biggest fight the UFC can make, probably one of the biggest fights that they've had on their hands for a while. I would say the only fight that kind of matched this was the Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou fight that almost happened, that was talked about for so long, and the UFC fumbled that. And I'm saying they cannot afford to fumble yet another super fight with Jon Jones. I mean, seriously, like, I was so disappointed about the Francis Ngannou stuff. That's why I feel like I'm just already accepting Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones isn't going to happen, because Because guys, I really doubt it. I'm right now back to just doubting it's ever going to happen, and I think we should just maybe accept that, yeah, Jon Jones is not going to fight Tom. Maybe he'll fight Alex. I have no idea what they're going to do. But my point is that the UFC can't fumble this. Like, I really hope that they are doing everything that they can to make this fight happen. I really hope that they're not being, cheap with the, with the purses, not paying Jon Jones what he wants. Obviously, as long as it's reasonable, I think that the UFC should just pay up, because this is going to be a massive fight, honestly. As I've said before, you could probably fill up a stadium in England and make your money back. But the truth is that the UFC isn't making this fight because they don't want to put that message out there. They don't want to show that their fighters that, hey, if you complain, if you, stick out long enough, you create too much of a problem, we will give you a massive payday like you've never seen before. We will give you $30 million, $20 million. So I don't think the UFC are so, easily going to give Tom Aspinall this amount because, well, yeah, maybe it seems normal for one fight. The UFC doesn't want to keep doing this for every fight.
Does he want to put himself in a position where he's comfortable enough financially to take the risk that he's taking to fight me? And that is where we're at. Like, the UFC tell me, they assure me that they are doing everything they can to make this fight. So
yeah, this is also very worrying, seeing that, Dana White in December said he was 100% confident we would see Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall.
Jon Jones behind the scene is not a guy that turns down fights.
Would you guarantee 100% we see that fight?
Yeah. I'll say 100%.
So why are we hearing that in private, the UFC, Dana White, everybody is saying they're going to try their best to make the fight happen, that they're doing everything that they can? Clearly, that means that there are some hard negotiations going down, and I'm telling you right now, the UFC is definitely trying to, play around, trying to get Jon Jones' lowest price. Like, please, UFC, stop playing around. Let's just make this fight. Like, come on. Jon Jones is a huge part to blame, yes, and I think that he is, definitely being annoying, acting on his privilege, and is just not acting like a champion, but also the UFC should pay him, right? I mean, this is just, Jon Jones has a point. I mean, he should be getting paid $20 million, $30 million. Asking for that much for one fight against Tom Aspinall, I mean, I don't know why the UFC just doesn't do it.
it's totally, as far as I'm aware, this is now totally down to Jon Jones and his team to work that out, because I'm in, the UFC are in. They assure me that they desperately want to make the fight. Every time I speak to them, they say we are working as hard as we can on the fight, and I'm literally just waiting for a date. I'm not bothered where it is. I'm not bothered who it's against, to be honest. It's not just the Jon Jones fight I'm looking for. I'm looking to fight, man. Like, I'm in shape. I've been working hard since way before Christmas. I've been in the gym twice a day. My diet's good. I've been sparring. I've got international training partners here. I am prepared to fight anybody. As far as I'm aware, it's now about, I don't know, maybe financial or otherwise. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I'm just waiting for the call right now. I'm 100% ready to go.
So finally here, Tom Aspinall once again reiterating how hard the UFC has been, I guess, working, or at least telling Tom Aspinall how hard they're working at making the Jon Jones-Tom Aspinall fight. And as I said, I mean, look, we don't see it from Dana White, we don't see it, publicly, but I am sure that they are really trying to get this fight done. As we talked about, it's already, a huge fight. But I think the most interesting thing is that Tom Aspinall says, look, he is fine not fighting Jon Jones. He's saying, look, as long as he gets that undisputed heavyweight title, whoever is in front of him, he just wants the title. And that's what people forget, is like, Jon Jones is holding up a title, right? It is fair to give other people the opportunities. You could, you vacate the title if you want to pick and choose who to fight. But if you want to be a champion, you can't just duck an interim champion for over a year and think, you're totally fine. And even have the nerve to call out other fighters when you have a number one contender in front of you. I feel like if it's not going to be Jon Jones, they're probably going to do the Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall fight. Maybe they'll do Pereira and Tom Aspinall. I'm not sure. But even that, I don't think that is going to soften the blow at all. I mean, it is hard to replace the Tom Aspinall Jon Jones fight. That was such a massive fight, and like I said, guys, honestly, at this point, I don't think it's gonna happen. Simply because, as I said before, I don't think that there is any dollar amount that would make Jon Jones want to risk that out. I think that is the most important thing, that undefeated record, the fact that nobody has ever beaten him. That is a huge flex to have over, competing 20 plus years in mixed martial arts at the highest level. So yeah, as much as I want to see this fight, doesn't look good right now. This is so far where we're at. I assume, man, if we're not gonna hear anything by June and it's still radio silence, that's not a good sign. But you never know. I mean, look, Jon Jones hasn't really been talking, so maybe the negotiations are going decent. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Check out my last video where I broke down the Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev fight. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, y'all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.